Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another Kenco F1 Grand Prix. Today we're in Russia, and today I'm joined by someone very, very special in the commentary box. Today I'm joined by Casper, otherwise known as Destruct FS. Hello, Destruct.
Hello, thank you for giving me this opportunity today at the Russian Grand Prix. So we're expecting quite low tyre wear around here. The C4, C3 and C2 compounds around Russia here. The tyre wear can be relatively low, but the tyre temperatures and degradation can be quite high, all with the compounds. Obviously, you've got the fast-paced nature of the track, which comes with fast-paced turns. So we can expect a lot of stress put onto these tyres today.
You're an expert yourself today, Casper. As previous racer in this league, obviously you were one of the top of the elite that managed to get on the front row of the grid. Today, on the front row of the grid, actually, is a little bit different. We got Nados with his first ever pole position here in the Kenco F1 League. How do you feel about a Red Bull being on the front row of that grid, knowing that you used to race for that team?
Well, it's great knowing that I've left and a great driver has been put on board. So it's always nice to see a team that you've left being built up and take that pole position. And in second place on the front row, we've got Ben, which is quite unexpected. So we'll see what he can do from that position.
That's really interesting today. Ben Mitchell on the grid for the first ever time in the front row, and it was just 2/10 off of that pole position, that very lucrative pole. I mean, you weren't here on Friday, obviously. Me and Sam were the ones doing that, but how do you feel about a Mercedes for the first ever time being in contention for a win?
Well, to the real-life counterparts, we aren't doing too great in the championship, but here is where they could turn it all around. They could score some great points today, and Ian in that P6 slot, they could gain some really good points today, and even maybe snatch a win.
These drivers are getting ready on the grid. They're going to be charging down towards turn 1 and turn 2. We see from the back of the grid the Alfa Romeo of Shukiev lining up behind the person who normally lines up on pole, Max Chapman, but the drivers are ready, they're going, and they're waiting for the lights to be extinguished. All of the drivers now about to set up for the start of the Russian Grand Prix, and they're away, and Josh gets an amazing start going down the middle. Round the outside is Andre Abreu going onto the grass, but into turn 1 it is Nados who is leading, and behind him Dylan Hartley has got the lead on Ben Mitchell. He's now into P2. Behind him, Archie Middelfeld looking for the P3 position. If they do go wide here into turn 2, they're going to have to use the sausage curb and run off. Just slight miss there for Dylan. No one having to use the sausage curb. We saw that back in 2020. Carlos Sainz, who used to be in the McLaren team, he went off and actually collided his way. Ben Mitchell maintaining and getting that position back from Dylan Hartley into turn 3.
We've already had the yellow flag in Sector 1, and Rins has dropped 10 positions down to last place, so it looks like he might have had some contact or a spin there. He gradually started dropping positions, then just managed to spin out. We've already had Nados already gain a lot of positions here. Andre gained a lot of positions here, and Ben has managed to keep his position, so it's not too bad of a start from him.
Great stuff there from both the Mercedes drivers. Hamill managed to also gain his position from the back. Chapman, who we normally see lining up on the front row of the grid, he's decided to elect for the soft tyres, whilst all those around him seem to be on that medium tyre. So what can we expect from him, the longevity-wise? You said it's such a punishing circuit. How can he make sure that these tyres go to the end?
We'll see that Max will try and cut through the field most likely here, try and get as many overtakes as possible and just try and stretch those tyres as far as possible as well. He'll switch to the medium compound halfway through the race, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think it's... yeah,
it was Wilson
James,
and Forbes.
It looks like James.
Yeah, Wilson and Forbes had a little coming together there through turn 12. And that meant that now we have a safety car for the first time in this race. The drivers will have to follow each other and make sure they line up behind the safety car. We'll just go ahead and get a replay of just what happened there. We'll see if we can see exactly what happened there with Nuts and Adam Forbes, I believe it was. So we see him here. We're on board with Vauxhall, who gets a pretty good start. We're looking now towards the back of the grid. We see Max Chapman making a dive on the inside of Svaney. Svaney keeps the position there. Max Chapman there. We see there's Nuts, and he's being chased down. Maybe it wasn't a collision with Forbes, because it doesn't seem as though they're anywhere near to each other now. If we go through here, turn 13 and 14, sorry, not turn 9. We look on the right, yeah, you see Nuts has just spun out, so not too sure what caused that one there.
We've had Nados in P1 as well. He had a little bit of an oversteer moment in Sector 3 onto the chicanes, proving very hard to get onto the power there, so there will be not much rubber laid down at the start of this Grand Prix, so we can expect a lot more oversteer going through the slow sections of this track.
So the marbles that you were just mentioning, how important are they in order to get grip on these Formula 1 cars? We see Rafael there staying off of the racing line in order to pick some of those up, I believe.
Obviously, you want to make sure you stay on the rubbered racing line. It will provide you with the most grip, and if you just move off the racing line slightly onto the marbles, obviously you can lose grip, you can get a snap of oversteer, maybe even understeer, and you can lose a lot of time to the car behind or the car you're catching. So it's very important to stay on the correct racing line and follow the car ahead as close as you possibly can.
I'm not sure if you were watching whilst myself and the stream were looking at the replay. Dylan Hartley has picked up some front wing damage. His right top portion of his wing and end plate are missing. Did you see what sort of collision happened to take that?
Unfortunately, I did not, but I have seen that we had a few pit stops happen here, and James and Adam are just catching up to the field now, forming the back of that queue behind the safety car. So a lot of strategy has probably been there, changed up there. We've also seen Rinsa, he's already gained 2 positions from that last collision start, so we'll see what he can do and what recovery drive he can pull off here.
Yeah, speaking of the pit stops, we see Dylan Hartley now coming into the pits. We'll go back to the replay and see if we can see exactly what happened with him and his and his wing damage. I'm not too sure if we will see that here coming onto the replay. We're just trying to get some of the overlays fixed whilst this is happening, but yeah, it looks like it was just as the safety car came out that it may have happened, so we may not be able to see on this replay. Dylan Hartley has had a slow stop. He's gone onto the hard compound tyres now with a front wing replacement.
Yeah, so the last 4 races here, they've all gone for a pit stop, so they're all pretty much on the medium or hard compound tyres, so it looks like they're going to be stretching those tyres all the way to the end. Might be a good strategy to pick up some places, but I don't think it's good enough to get them the win. We also have Ben that's picked up a 5-second time penalty. That's probably due to a collision. He's the only driver on the grid, currently with a penalty, so hopefully that doesn't impede his win or second place wherever he finishes today.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point there. That he's picked up that penalty due to the collision with Dylan Hartley. We are having a few technical issues regarding the overlay, but it should be fixed in just a second now. Middelfeld has promoted himself to P3 after Dylan Hartley has gone into the pits, who now is situated last. The safety car will now extinguish its lights, hopefully, and we will be able to get racing again. 1 racing lap, and we will have a safety car. If you're just joining us now, welcome to the Kenco F1 Russian Grand Prix. Andre Muster started on pole and has the fastest lap, is leading the race. Mitchell, who started alongside him on the front row of the grid, is also in P2, but in the midfield we have some variation. Middelfeld gaining 1 position, as well as Schutt and Pio. They're all gaining positions. Rafael made 5 positions on that opening lap. So did Kevin, O'Mara, and Max Chapman. They all gained at least 4 or 5 positions, so some really good racing from these boys so far. But as we go on board with Andre Muster, we see the safety car lights have extinguished, and we get ready to race once again.
Yeah, so we'll be looking towards this restart. Let's see what Nados here in P1 can pull off with this restart if he can gap the field. Obviously, as you said, the Alfa Romeo boys have already pulled up a lot of places since the start. Unfortunately, that Dylan Hartley, he had the wing damage, obviously he had to pit, so he's all the way down in last, unfortunately. But he has managed to catch up to the rest of the queue, so let's get ready for this restart.
It's all about the when Andre decides he wants to hit the throttle. He's staying very close to the safety car, which means it will be a late release from the Red Bull driver. He's weaving tiredly to get the heat into those tyres. Round turn 17 and 18, he's going to back the pack up, but into turn 18, he's decided he wants to shoot, and he's already gained a 4/10 gap up to Ben Mitchell. There's a yellow flag in sector 1 for one reason or another, but as they pass the line, the green flag is shown, and Andre Muster, by 1 second, already in front into turn 2. Behind them is Mitchell and Middelfeld, who is trying to make a move on Mitchell. Schutt and Rafael Pio are behind, and then it is Hanmore, who has gained 1 position, but has lost it now to Andre Abreu. He's gone across, but he has not used the runoff there, Ian Hanmore, so he may get a penalty for that. Josh O'Mara now up into P7 with an absolutely amazing run. Torben Schutt into P2 by corner 5.
That was an absolute great restart from Nados. We've still got a fight for P2. Looks like it's come down a bit, but Ben is fighting for that P3 position with Vereno there. So let's see what he can pull off. And Josh with a massive snap of oversteer coming through the sector number 2.
It looks like Middelfeld in P5 has picked up some wing damage, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. He's gone a little bit wide. No, he hasn't got wing damage, but it was bodywork that was flying off. Ian Hanmore is chasing him down relentlessly. Rafael Pio in his best position so far, up in P4. Ben Mitchell has lost 1 position on the safety car restart, and in front of him, Torben Schutt, who did not get an amazing qualifying, has had an amazing restart and is up into 2nd place, but he's 4 seconds behind. What a ridiculous restart from Muster. He just fired it, and it was no one was anywhere near him. Hanmore and Abreu are going at it once again, back and forth through the corner. Who has the inside line for turn turn 15. Now he goes into turn 15 and 16 is Ian, who is in front, but Andre may get the slipstream and the run all the way down from turn 18 all the way to turn 2.
Looks like we're still going to be fighting, but Andre decides to back off. Coming at turn 17, and he has a massive snap of oversteer, lost a lot of time. As I said, Charlie with an absolute brilliant restart. He's already picked up 3 places since the start of the race, so he's going to be looking to catch down Nados in P1. Looks like he's chasing him down at a pretty good pace. Already caught around a second since we last spoke about him.
Both the O'Maras now going into turn 2. Josh O'Mara's going round the outside of Kevin O'Mara, who looks to get an inside line into turn 2, but he's narrowed it down. Josh and Kevin are both going to have to use the runoff. Kevin does not use it, so that is his first warning you get to before you are shown the black and white flag.
Yeah, obviously we're using runoff here at Russia as the key part of the track. It's one of the most iconic moments. Carlos Sainz in the 2020 Russian Grand Prix obviously binned it there on the first lap of the opening Russian Grand Prix. So it's very important to remember to use it, as we saw Josh once again, a massive snap of oversteer, and Kevin there in the Alfa Romeo might have cut a little bit of that corner, and he keeps going wide here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks as though the drivers in the soft tyres just can't fire them up, can't get the heat into these tyres. We talked about how tyre degradation and tyre temperatures will be a massive part of this race, and in the midfield, it is definitely showing with P10 and P11, both of the Alfa Romeos fitting the soft tyres are behind them. Josh O'Mara also on the soft tyres, unable to fire them up. Josh O'Mara was overtaken beautifully by Kevin O'Mara. A huge deep dive down the inside of Kevin meant that he had the lead through turn 5 and 6. But now into turn 15 and 16, we see Josh on board trying to chase down Kevin. Is Josh able to fire the tyres up more than Kevin can?
It's just about a matter of time, how fast you can get the tyres to find the grip. Obviously, you have to be careful on the power if your tyres aren't at the correct temperature. But if we move a bit closer to the field, we can see Jay is trying to chase down Joel here, down the main pit straight, and he's going to have that DRS wide and open.
Jay is coming now down towards turn 2, but he's being chased very relentlessly by Max Chapman. We know Max Chapman can go all the way from the back. He did it in Monaco, and he managed to get all the way up to P2. But then, obviously, there was that incident with Robbie Welsh in the Nouvelle chicane. But round the outside, Jay Robinson keeps in the slipstream through the long, winding right-hander of turn 3. Ridiculous that these cars can follow each other so close in these dirty aired conditions. But regardless, it is 3 abreast coming now through turn 7. And it is Max Chapman who is chasing Jay Robinson, who is chasing Joel Foxall. Joel Foxall on the medium tyres is able just to get so much more temperature into them than these drivers on the soft tyres, and that probably is going to affect Jay's race.
Absolutely, Dylan's just starting to make his way through the field. Just had an overtake at Svaney in Sector 2, trying to chase down Rinser now, doing great bits at it. He's managed to find the pace on those hard tyres, and he's just chasing them down at a rapid pace.
Jay Robinson's managed now to make it past Joel Foxall with the assistance of 14 kilometers an hour extra down the pit, down the back straight, turn 11 to turn 13, and a light break from the AlphaTauri driver, along with DRS, has managed to make him up there into the P8 position. Shutter's now overtaken. Shutter's overtaken Muster as he comes into the pit stop. Muster needs this to be quick.
Oh, and there's a yellow flag.
Where from?
Yellow flag in Sector 3. Josh has spun it on turn 14, I believe it is.
Oh,
trying to chase down Kevin, so unfortunately that's going to have to be a pit stop for him. He's lost his whole entire front wing.
Josh would hope that would be a virtual safety car, but there was not enough wings on the track, and through that commotion, Andre Muster has pitted early and is in P14. He's lost all the way from P1 down to P14. I'm not too sure what's happened, if it was a front wing replacement, but it is the hard tyres that have been going on to that's Red Bull. Rafael Pio has covered over the pit stop for the Ferrari team, and is also on the white marked hard tyres as he comes out he's on the yellow marked medium tyres, so he's going for a slightly quicker strategy now. But it's Rafael who has covered off the Ferrari strategy for Muster. This is where the Red Bull being in P15 and P11 rather than P1 and P2 will come into effect. They won't be able to back off from the Ferrari team, who have 2 cars to alternate the strategy.
Now so obviously dropped down to P15. He's fitted for hard tyres, and looks like, I think that's Josh maybe. Again, that's gone deep in Sector 1. But obviously, oh no, that was Adam there. That's gone deep in sector 1, so I'm not sure what's happened there. But obviously, Nados, if he's fit for hard compound tires, that's an alternate strategy. Sorry, so it's most likely due to wing damage, and I don't think that was a stop that was meant to happen.
Ben Mitchell's had an incredible race so far. Normally, he's at the back end of the points, but today, he's at the front end of the points. He's in P2 and following previous race winner Torben Schutt by less than half of a second. This is absolutely amazing stuff. He's going to get the DRS now all the way down towards turn 2. If he is in detection range, he's 8/10 in the detection zone. Yes, he gets these. He gets the thing as he sets the fastest sector 1, but Chapman is much quicker in sector 3. Ben goes a little bit deep and isn't able to get on the power. He's using all of the ERS he can to chase up to the Ferrari, who is in front of him, the 3-time race winner, Torben Schutt. We saw him do it in Spa against Max Chapman, who has had to fight his way through the field. Torben Schutt, pretty much from the first lap, has been at the start of this field, but amazing stuff here from Ben to not only stay with him, not only to stay in P2, but to stay with a 3-time race winner of Torben Schutt.
Ben is obviously showing great pace today, but we can't forget about the 5-second time penalty that's going to cost him in the pit lane today. Max is doing bits currently up into P6 already, so he's looking down to chase Ian Hanmore. He's already gained 9 positions since the start of the race. Obviously, there have been a few pit stops, but it looks like Adam has dived into the pits as well. That's probably due to the wing damage that we talked about earlier in Sector 1, so he drops down to last. Andre has in the Williams has already gained 7 positions, so the order of these drivers on the grid is just getting mixed up every single second, so we just need to see and wait what happens.
For the first time in his time in the Kenco F1 League, Kevin Omar is running in the points positions, and he's getting ever closer to Joel Foxhall on the medium tyres in front of him. Joel's gone for the alternate strategy, starting outside of the top 10 this weekend, and Kevin sliding the rear there through turn 14. Now on the way down to turn 15, he wants to get a good exit on the soft tyres. He'll be thinking about coming in soon. There are 9 laps gone of this race. There are 18 left to go. Will he pit? No, he stays out on the soft tyres. He probably should pit sooner or later, but the drivers on the soft tyres are now going to feel the punishing effects of the tyre wear, tyre degradation. Joel Foxhall will now be looking to get back towards Robinson and Chapman, who overtook him just a few laps ago.
Max has already closed the gap to Ian Hanmore, so he's going to have a go at him here in Sector 1. We'll just have to see and wait when he decides to strike, but the Alfa Romeos have gained a lot of positions at the start of the race. Absolutely amazing pace from them shown so far. Renser is regaining his damages from the lap 1 incident. He's on the medium compound tyre, so it probably looks like he'll be stopping once more in the race. He's just sacrificed his strategy for a pace early on, so I'm guessing he's just hoping for another safety car at the moment.
That's a decent strategy, hope on the safety car, because let's be honest, it's Kenco F1, and there probably will be another one at lap 26 or something like that. But Max Chapman now, as you said, close to Ian Hanmore, 3/10s with the DRS assistance now coming through turn 10 all the way down to turn 15. Oh, sorry, turn 13. He's dropped it. He's dropped it into the wall, but he's managed to save it. Hit the wheel rather than the front wing. I don't know how he hasn't been penalised more than he was there. That is absolutely distraught there for number 22. But luckily, he has not lost wing. That could have been his race over.
Absolutely brilliant save there from Max. A massive snap of oversteer, just trying to get onto that power, try and overtake Ian Hanmore. Maybe getting a little bit too greedy, and that almost cost him the whole entire race. Jay has now managed to catch up a lot of time to Max Chapman because of that, and he's being chased down by Joel every second.
We talked about Andre Abreu a couple minutes ago. He's been chased down by Ian Hanmore. Ian Hanmore currently in the fastest place he has ever been in this league. Even with that snap of oversteer, Max Chapman managing to set a 27.5 second chapter. Ben Mitchell into turn 1. As Torben Schutt has used the runoff and kept his position into turn 2. Ben Mitchell is round the outside of turn 3 into the lead for the first ever time. A Mercedes in a legitimate manner is leading the Grand Prix. 17 laps to go. He just needs to keep the car behind. 2/10 separates the leaders. One little mistake from Torben Schutt meant that Ben Mitchell was in front. They had to use a runoff, and Ben just had the run down round the outside of turn 3, and what a beautiful move it was to put him into the first position on the grid.
As the Mercedes moves up to P1, another one drops down to P6. Max Chapman in turn 1 manages to get the move done beautifully down the inside of turn 1. Now he's going to be looking to chase Andre down in the Williams and try and get another position down into P4 and possibly snuck his way on, up onto the podium.
How worried should the current how worried should the current podium runners be about Max Chapman and possible strategies that they may pull from P5?
If I was in their position, I'd be absolutely petrified. Max only 6 seconds behind P3 after pretty much being last at the start of this Grand Prix, so he's got absolute stellar pace through here at this circuit. He's been able to catch him at an incredible rate here, so a podium is in sight and he can definitely get it, especially if another safety car comes out. And Andre in the Williams, he's diving into the pits now, so he's going to be doing his pit stop. Same with the Renault ahead.
Andre and the Renault both triggered the undercut, trying to gain the positions onto Torben Schott. Max Chapman makes his way up into P3, Ian Hanmore into P5, Jay Robinson into P5, sorry, and Foxhall into P6. Kevin O'Mara is now P7. He will contemplate strategizing a pit stop in the next couple laps. Svenny Karlstad down in P13 is the only person lower than P8 not to have pitted in this race so far. Torben Schott has regained the lead through turn 10 and now is being chased relentlessly by Ben Mitchell, who has had absolutely wonderful pace round here. All he needs to do is sit behind, keep the resources, and wait for Schott to make a mistake. But 7 seconds behind is Max Chapman, and he is on a roll.
Max Chapman could possibly even get the overcut here if he uses all of his ERS and fuel, which I don't think he will be doing, indicated by his steering wheel, but he's got absolutely great pace today once again, so there's not a doubt he will get up onto that podium unless something stops him. If a safety car comes out right now, it looks like the first maybe 5-6 drivers currently are guaranteed to have a very good position in the rest of the race. Whether a safety car comes out or not will be dependent on the drivers, obviously, but a lot of them have been doing great so far, and Kevin's already in P7, gained 10 positions since the start of the race, so at his first time in the points, it's not too bad of an effort.
I think someone that we've not shown enough love to today is Ian Hanmore up there in P4 as his teammate gets back into position 1 on the thing. I think that may be because Torben Schott's come into the pits, but I'm not too sure about what that's happened. Yes, he has come into the pits. You'll have to keep an eye on that for me, please, as Max Chapman now goes up to P2. Ben Mitchell is not going he's not going short. He's going to go long and protect that undercut from Torben Schott. But as I was saying, Ian Hanmore up into P3. Last week, he was using the toe of Max Chapman to get round and into the points positions. This week, he's using the toe of Max Chapman to get into the podium position. So ridiculous stuff there from him. 2 seconds behind Max is still an incredible feat. And Mitchell now, both the Mercedes, ensuring a podium place. It's like the actual Formula 1 league.
So Charlie in the pits, he's lost around 24 seconds to Ben, so we have to keep a close eye on that. Both the Mercedes are in P1 and P3. That doesn't obviously mean that they'll finish there because they've still got their pit stops to serve. But this undercut by Charlie will be detrimental to Ben. We'll see how fast he can do this in lap, and if he can pull out some brilliant pace out of this, he might even be able to make the overcut work.
A faster Sector 1 from the man who pitted and who fitted the medium tyres. Archie Meadowfels, that's a 34-second lap. There is a yellow flag in Sector 3. That's going to hamper Ben. He's going to have to lift off of the throttle as he comes now to lap. I think that may be Adam Forbes at the rear of the grid. He's coming in now. He will decide to pit. That is Adam Forbes, who is coming past the pits. It will be a pit stop now from Ben Mitchell. He will fit the medium tyres, presumably, to match that of Torben Schott. But Torben Schott is 18 seconds behind. You said you lose 24 seconds here. Torben Schott will be clear by 6 entire seconds. Ben Mitchell will also have to pit and serve his 5 seconds in the pits. We see now 5 unduly seconds here. Hanmore goes into first as he stays and goes long. Ben is now released from the pits. He has fitted the medium tyres. Chapman also in the pits, released after fitting. Oh, sorry, no, he has not been released. Ben is being now chased by Mitchell, who has fitted Mitchell has now been chased by Chapman, who has also fitted the medium tyres. So it's going to be Chapman who's possibly going to overtake Ben. But Hanmore now taking the P1 slot. Foxhall, who has not pitted yet, taking P2. And Dylan Hartley, the first person to pit in this race, is P3.
Ben's obviously lost his first position over here currently. Ian Hanmore is running low on that ERS. He's only got around 20% of battery left here, so it's important to see when he'll come into the pits. I'd bet he'd love a safety car right now, just come out first and keep his position that he's currently in, but only time will tell. Obviously Adam is very far behind the pack. He's 33 seconds behind his teammate, so it's not looking too good for any of the McLarens tonight.
Alex Rinser has not pitted yet, but he's only 2 seconds behind Dylan Hartley. Dylan Hartley pitted on the first lap, and he put the hard tyres on. Can he go to the end? Can he do 26 laps on the hard tyres, or will the Pirelli tyres just grain too much and hit that cliff?
Obviously, like we talked at the start of the race, the degradation around here can be quite bad. So even if Matthias can make it to the end, I don't think it will be even good for him to maybe stick it out on that compound. Obviously, you'll lose a lot of time due to that tyre wear. Combined with the temperatures, combined with the graining and everything else here at the Sochi circuit, you've got a lot of fast-paced corners around here, and that just contributes to all the wear, all the degradation, everything else you can think of. So it's not really ideal for the drivers, but if you can make it stick, then go for it. And Charlie sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix currently, so he looks like he's going to be taking another win unless something dramatic happens.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Foxhall has decided to go long on the medium tyres. He's currently got a 9-second gap to Torben Schutt behind. He's probably begging on the last final laps of the race, going on to the soft tyres and pushing like all hell. But Sveine's now got into P10, Ben up into P6. Archie, with the undercut, has managed to trigger himself now up into P5. Torben Schutt chasing down Dylan Hartley, who is the first man to pit. I think you are correct when you said that he should pit as soon as he can, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to. With Torben Schutt only 1.5 seconds behind, he's going to have to keep him behind and hold him up with hopes that he can just eke out a little bit of time in the pit stop.
Yeah, he'll just need to hope that the tyres don't have that much of an advantage for the overtake, and that the pit stops just managed to work for him here. We can see Max, he's trying to chase down Ben and James here in the Mercedes and Racing Point, coming into Sector 3, so we'll see if they can make any work out of this.
Oh, there's a little bit of a touch there between Wilson and Chapman as they go now into turn 15. There is a collision and Ben! Oh no! Sorry, Chapman has spun Wilson, who has gone into Andre Mustard, the pole sitter. Today, he's got wing damage. He could have fought it through to the front. That will be investigated by the stewards as Max Chapman now promotes himself up into P6. We'll see exactly what happened between those two, and it could be a post-race time penalty for Max Chapman for instigating and causing a collision between two drivers, but we'll keep you posted on that after the race. Max Chapman now up into P7, Ben Mitchell maintaining P8, and Robinson up into P8, sorry. And behind them, Hanmore, Muster, and there's another collision. That's Kevin O'Mara colliding with Andre Muster. He's been in the wars right now, Andre, but Kevin has lost a portion of his wing. He's going to have to come in again. If he does not come in, like we saw in Spa, he's going to lose too much time. He does come in, and now may be the time to fit the soft tyres, do you reckon?
Absolutely, you might as well just go on the soft tyres, try something else. I mean, you've already lost enough time with the collisions. There's been a lot of collisions down there in Sector 3, 2 including Nados in the Red Bull, so it's not been too great of a race from him starting from pole. So unfortunately, I think this race is over for him here.
Yeah, we just need to look at the front of the grid. Torben Schutt could have another win under his belt. Kevin O'Mara has elected to go onto the medium tyres for longevity's sake, but Joel Foxhall now going for P1. He's on the medium tyres. He will have to come in surely sometime or another. Max Chapman in P6 has just set the fastest Sector 1 with a 34-second sector. He is being towed by Mitchell, who is behind him. 1 second behind. He won't get the DRS down the couple back straights, but Middelfeld in front is right in the eyes of Chapman. And he's not far in front as well. Schutt has managed to get past Hartley on those hard tyres. Remember, we said that could play a part in how pacey that driver is. Middelfeld desperately needs to get past needs to get past Alex Rinser. If he cannot, he'll be held up and gobbled up by Max Chapman behind, who is on a flying lap. But it's just traffic. We saw it here in Spain. But now we see it as Alex Rinser decides to come into the pits for one reason or another. No wing damage, that's probably just a statutory pit stop there for him. But P4 goes now to Middelfeld, P5 to Max Chapman. Dylan Hartley maintains P3. Ben Mitchell up into P6. Max Chapman with the fastest lap, a 1:34.1 with the fastest Sector 1 and Sector 3. Purple Sectors 1, 3 and green Sector 2. Jay Robinson now up into P7 and P8 for Ian Hanmore. P6 for Ben Mitchell. He's dropped about he's dropped 5 positions from the start. Fastest Sector 2 from Rafael, who's just fitted the soft tyres. That won't mean anything to him if he gets the fastest lap outside the top 10. Josh O'Mara, even despite the crashes, is up into P13. He could be looking for points once again. Kevin O'Mara now down into P16 after his collisions with Nados. That was an unfortunate series of events for him. He was in P7 and running quite well until he had those collisions. Alex Rinser, who we saw coming into the pits for his pit stop, is up into P10. Sveine, pardon me, in P9. Andre is on a flyer. He's up into P3. Nados might be getting this fastest lap here and getting the One World Championship point. Max Chapman now, though, only 2 seconds behind the Renault of Archie Middelfeld.
Charlie has had an absolutely great start to the race here. He's ready in P2, getting 3 positions in for start. So his qualifying didn't go his way, but the race definitely has. He's looking at net P1 here. Joel is still yet to pit on his tyres, and those tyres are 15 laps old, and he decides to come in. You can see on that in lap, he was starting to lose grip left, right, and centre, drifting wide everywhere, locking up into the pits. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time here, but obviously this massive pit straight at Russia will cost him a lot of time. Charlie moves up into P1 now, and he's being chased down by Dylan Hartley in P2 on those 13 lap old hards. I don't think they'll do him any good, but the driver behind, which is now being chased down by Max, actually down turn 1. He has DRS wide and open. This could be a launch down into turn 1, and he goes past.
Now we've just got to hope that Renault needs to hope that Max Chapman goes deep into this corner. We see him late on the brakes. The fastest sector 1 there from, fastest sector 2 from Andre Muster, who has set all 3 purple sectors now at 31.999. Call the police, 999, because he's coming on your tail. He's coming so fast that he might catch you in a couple laps, but he's up now in P14. That 1 World Championship point won't mean anything unless he's in the top 10, but the Renault is well and truly outdone by Max Chapman. Even though he's at the back of the grid, he still manages to put himself in P3.
Yeah, we need to just send an invite to Nuts real quick. Yeah, Max is in P3 now. He's chasing down the leaders, P1 and P2. He's only 8 seconds behind Dylan Hartley now. So we'll see how quickly he can catch down Hartley and Dylan on those fresh new mediums. He's currently got one of the freshest tyres on the grid, except for people who just pit 4 softs. So Joel and Rinser. But Rinser has had a great recovery drive thus far, but that lap 1 incident will definitely not do any good for his morals.
Yeah, completely right there. As Middelfeld still manages to hang behind Max Chapman. It seems as though if you're in the top 3, you sort of hang in the front, but if you're any lower than that, you get stuck in the dirty air. Ben Mitchell now down to P5, losing 4 positions from his starting position. But it's just a shame that, well, I'm not too sure that he couldn't get past when Max Chapman overtook him, and he got stuck in a little bit of dirty air. I'm not too sure. We've got a message from someone in the chat. Where's Mountain Boy? I'm not too sure what Mountain Boy is, but that is that. As fastest sector 3 is set by Joel Foxhall. Now in P6, he's going long. He's actually managed to prolong his stint, and he's going to go 9 laps on the soft tyres from here on out.
Yeah, 9 laps seems about right for a soft compound tyre. It seems like the perfect range to not get too much tyre wear, to not get too much tyre degradation. But Max is slowly starting to pull away from that Renault behind him, chasing down the leaders once again. Ben is in P5, is hanging quite well there for now. He has dropped back quite a bit, unfortunately, but for his result, it won't be too bad. He will score Mercedes some great points.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think his best finish so far was P10. So he would get some absolutely amazing points on the board. Imagine going from 1 point in the championship all the way up to 26 in a matter of 1 race. Would have been amazing for Ben. But unfortunately, it'll be P5, and I believe 8 championship points for him if he stays where he is currently. Joel Foxhall, though, will be behind him just a second. 10 seconds as a virtual safety car is deployed for one reason or another. We'll look to the back of the grid and see if there is any collisions. Yes, it's Adam Forbes has had a spin coming out of the exit of turn 12, I believe that is, coming on down the DRS straight. That's not going to do good for him. I'm not too sure why there is a virtual safety car, considering there are no portions of his wing loft, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, so James just decided to retire from the session. I think there was a bit of contact between him and the Ferrari. They're fighting with P12. Not sure what quite happened, but his whole front wing is just completely ripped off. So we'll have to investigate that a bit after the race. I'm not sure what happened there.
And then Adam Forbes has also spun out here. Second time, but that's promoted Ben Mitchell up into P4 as Dylan Hartley capitalizes on the virtual safety car to come into the pits and fit the faster medium tyres. Joel Foxhall now in front on the soft tyres, but the virtual safety car still hasn't ended. Perfect timing there for that AlphaTauri. As he just comes out the pits, he'll have to run down towards turn 2 on Ian Hanmore, as the virtual safety car will be coming to an end in just 1 second. Half of a lap it costs the virtual safety car. So as soon as Chuck gets round and that is there, he's now gone half a lap and the virtual safety car is cleared. Torben Schutt and Max Chapman, the 2 protagonists in this league, are now fighting side by side. We have 16 cars left in this race, and one of them is Ben Mitchell, who is doing very well of himself to stay up in P4, but he's being chased by Foxhall, Robinson and Hanmore, who are all bunched together due to that virtual safety car. Andre Muster and Kevin O'Mara both decided to come into the pit and fit newer, softer tyres.
Yeah, so now just got to drive through penalty with that virtual safety car. It's been an absolutely horrible weekend from him. Qualifying was absolutely amazing, but Dylan almost gets almost loses his car through sector 3 or sector 2. Sorry, my apologies. Gets a massive snap of oversteer, so the tyres might already be giving out, or the temperatures are just not in there just yet on those fresh set of mediums. He's obviously trying to chase down Ian, but they've both got DRS, so they're just stuck in a DRS train. So for now, I don't think we'll see any action between the two.
This could be a team order here from Robinson to move out the way and let Dylan Hartley, who's been quicker than him all weekend, past. But Ian Hanmore will have none of it. He'll try and get past as much as he can with the DRS assistance all the way down on the run to turn 2. Both of them will have it. You're right, saying that there will be a train, but if Dylan Hartley can get the dive down the inside, there is 2 wide now through turn 17 and into turn 18. It is Dylan Hartley who's gone a little bit deeper. Oh, sorry, has gone a little bit more shallow into the corner. It'll be both of them running down towards turn 2. Neither of them will have the advantage of the DRS. They'll both have it on the run down to turn 2, but I think Ian Hanmore has forgotten to activate that.
Yeah.
I don't know why he hasn't activated it.
I don't think Ian Hanmore was close enough to Jay to get that DRS, so Dylan got the opportunity out of that one. He just moves past with pretty much no problems whatsoever there. So we'll see if the team orders come into play now. Both AlphaTauris are low on low on ERS, so they don't want to waste too much time battling here and cost even tyre life.
That would be a really big shame for Ian. He was doing pretty well to stay up there in P6, but Jay Robinson overtook him, and then Dylan Hartley overtook him. So both the AlphaTauris now into P6 and P7. Joel Fox on the soft tyres now seeing the tyre degradation come into effect with 6 seconds still to Ben Mitchell, who is in P4, his best ever position so far in the Kenco F1 League. There are 7 laps remaining for these drivers to go. The medium tyres seem to be the best bet around here, but the softs for Joel are just not cooking it. There are 6 seconds separating them now, and 6 seconds separating Middelfeld from P1. And it is Ben Mitchell who is trying to go for it. Dylan Hartley round the inside of Jay Robinson. That does look pretty easy, like it was a team order there, with the actual use of the DRS coming now down towards turn 12 and 13. It was pretty clear that Jay was having none of the battling with Dylan. But Dylan now towards the final sector is sort of the best of the rest as he comes into the as he comes into sector 1 and past the finishing line.
Max has made his way all the way up to P2 now with 7 seconds behind Charlie, and there's 7 laps left to go, or only 6 laps now in this Grand Prix. So if we can get a safety car here, things might change really quickly. Max obviously on the newer compound tyre by only 1 lap, but I don't think that'll be enough to get him a win. It will definitely put him up onto the podium, and the fight for P3 could still be alive with Ben.
I completely agree with you with your statement that Max Chapman has done an absolutely amazing drive, but just hasn't done enough. I think the 6 laps would still not be enough, even only with 1 lap newer tyres. So that's a shame there for him. But still, to come back from 15th on the grid and come up to the 2nd podium position, that is absolutely ridiculous. Remember, you can vote for your driver of the day, kencotv.uk/vote. But that is what it is, and vote for your driver of the day. I think today mine would be Mitchell. He's had an absolutely amazing race, but I'm not too sure about what you would say, Ben. Only losing 2 positions in a race where you've had your best ever qualifying and your best ever potential finish. I think that's pretty decent from that driver.
Absolutely, he's usually at the back of the grid, so now pulling out an amazing qualifying and maybe even an amazing race finish is just absolutely brilliant to see. But I don't know what might happen to Kevin, and the Alfa Romeo dropped all the way down to P15 from gaining around 10, well not 10 places, but 8 and 9 places in this race, so he's dropped back quite a bit. So he's on the 4-lap old medium, so he's definitely had a pit stop relatively close to this time period, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was when the end of the virtual safety car, when Muster had to run and do his drive-through penalty. Kevin also came into the pits. We're on board with Ben Mitchell, who is only 2 seconds behind the driver in front. He's going to be chasing him down and possibly going for the final podium position. Ben has never been anywhere in the top 10 except for P10 before, and P3 would do wonders and seal the deal.
Getting his first podium here at Russia would be quite amazing to see. Obviously another new person on the podium is always nice and great to see, have some variety within the F1 league. But let's move our focus a bit further towards the back of the field. We've got Svaney here in the Williams chasing down the Ferrari for fighting for P11, possibly even getting a points.
Yeah, I mean, Rafael Pio has only been with us for 2 weeks here in the league, but he's doing a pretty pretty good job to get up into the points. And a bit of a collision there between Svaney, who moves under braking across into Rafał. No damage from them two, so I doubt Ferrari will be taking that to the FIA, but some dirty driving and a little bit of collision there from the Williams and the Ferrari drivers. What is your take on that?
Yeah, the Williams just slowed down right out of turn 2 or turn 3 there, so it was probably instructed by the FIA to give back the position straight away to the Ferrari due to the touching and maybe even a possible corner cut there. But the fighting will continue down to the last lap of race here, I presume.
Yeah, 4 laps to go, and it is not for a points position, but both of those Williams will want to be in the points positions, or at least next to each other. A Williams, so far, has only ever scored points with Andre Abreu, so Svaney will be looking to get into the final points position, possibly even pipping his teammate, but 17 seconds is too far, I think, for them to gain in order to get to the points. It's just a race or a battle sort of for dignity between Rafał and Svaney. But further, more up the grid, we see Ian's only 1.8 behind Jay, and he's chasing him with the assistance of DRS. No, he does not have that down towards turn 2. Jay will have to use the runoff there through there. But yeah, it is interesting that Dylan is in front of his teammate, and the team orders has meant that Dylan can pull out 6 seconds on his team. I think that was the right decision for them.
Absolutely, you don't want to lose too much time, especially if you're on the fresher tyres, then you might as well just let that driver go through. You don't want to lose too much time to the car behind, risk an overtake. Just have the slower driver just move out of the way and just let the faster driver of one on the fresher tyres just make up as much time as possible. Ian's been slowly trailing and falling behind the Alpha Tauri, so I don't think he's going to have any, say, 4 P7 here. I think the race might be over here for him, so looks like P8 might be his finishing position, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree there with that statement. P5, Joel Foxall, we said 9 laps is probably around the right length of time for him to go on the softs, but he's just nursing these home now. 4 laps, he knows he can't get up to P4. He's got 2 seconds to gain on slower tyres. Remember, you can vote for your driver of the day, as we did say, kencotv.uk/vote. But Joel, on these soft tyres, just realising how punishing the conditions here around Sochi are. He's managed to keep up with the front pack of the grid. The pit board there saying that there are 3 laps remaining for this driver, but I think you're completely right, and I mean, it's good to see an alternate strategy from the teams, but I think for today, that didn't just quite play out for Joel.
As we can see in real life as well, just because the tyre is the softest compound doesn't necessarily mean it's the fastest. Obviously, tyre temperatures, degradation, everything else plays a part in it. So, just because you're on the softer compound of tyre, the temperatures might be a bit more extreme, the lateral forces on it might be too bad for a track as well. And there's a spin in Sector 3 from Svaney in the Williams. He's lost his wing, so I think that's about for P11 over, but that will mean he has to serve another pit stop. His whole wing is pretty much completely gone.
Lucky he was just outside of the pits. No safety car there, which would have been interesting for the lead, but Torben Schutt, as you said, he's just coasting his way home. He's being chased by one of the lap cars. We'll see if we can see who exactly that is. That is... I think that may be Kevin. He's one of the Alfa Romeos, but Max Chapman's 7 seconds behind. Doesn't look like it, but that might be Max now coming through there. I think it may be Kevin, though, who is chasing Torben Schutt. That would be interesting if it was Max just chasing him by a couple seconds.
Yeah, it is indeed Kevin in the Alfa Romeo. That's just following the race leader here. He's moved out of the way by the blue flags. But it looks like the order of the cars now currently is going to be the finishing order here. The gaps are pretty much just 1 second between each driver, so I don't think we'll see any racing down to the last lap here.
I think you're right. It's really difficult to overtake around Sochi. Oh, what's happened?
Just down in Sector 1, as I was saying, that we probably won't see any racing. Svaney and Kevin are quite close together, and there's been a bit of touching on the inside line, a bit of contact between the rear tyre of Svaney and Kevin's front right end plate, so hopefully that didn't cause any damage, but we can see his rear light flashing, so he's running very low on ERS here.
We're riding on board with Kevin. If you want to go ahead and talk us through it.
Yeah, so we can see that he's just following Svaney here through Sector 2 and about to enter Sector 3, sorry, now here. So he's going to have the DRS all the way down this this back straight, following him, but the gap is just too large here. I don't know if he sustained any damage, but the gap is just increasing every second goes by. Obviously, Kevin has had a brilliant start to the race, and he's bottled it all the way down to here, and he's gone deep here, entering Sector 3, so it's not really been the best race for him tonight, obviously, having a great start. and looking like an awful
and
finish.
oh,
And he's just
no!
spun, and
Kevin!
there's some more front wing damage to add insult to injury. So.
Yeah, he's going to get out of the way of his teammate as the blue flags are shown, but I don't think it was a blue flag that he needed, it was a yellow flag that was there. But behind them, Middlefell and Mitchell very close together with only 1 lap remaining in this race.
The gap has absolutely closed. I'm not sure what's quite happened here, so I don't know if maybe Vereno has had a bit of a moment here, but his ERS light is flashing. Vereno in front of Mitchell is low on ERS, so with that DRS advantage as well, we might be able to see a last lap overtake for the podium P3 position here.
Sorry, there are 2 laps remaining in this race. I thought that Torben Schutt may have not gone past the line yet, but he definitely has. Ben Mitchell only 3 tenths behind the Renault in front. He could fight for this final podium position. We said it was 2 seconds, too big of a gap to fill. But if he just keeps it clean, keeps it clinical, Ben Mitchell will be in the final podium position. It's Schutt, Chapman, Middlefeld, Mitchell in the top 4, and Mitchell is going for the top 3.
Absolutely, Mitchell was definitely hungry for that P3, his first ever podium in the Kenco F1 League, and a lot of points to score as well. How amazing would that be for his debut podium here? So it looks like he's just going to keep chasing down that Renault, try and keep as close as he can, and use that ERS tactically, and use that DRS advantage he has as well. Looks like he's going to burn a lot of it down here through the back straight, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move into the chicane.
He was even closer into that DRS zone as he was into the turn 2 DRS zone. We see the Renault there using a bit of the ERS in the exit of the corner, a bit of a moment there from Ben as he comes now towards turn 14, 15 and 16. He's just behind the Renault. He will get the DRS now towards turn 2 by the looks of things. Only 3 tenths separating them as we enter the final lap. Ben Mitchell on board with him behind the Renault of Archie Middlefeld. He does not want to lose anything as Middlefeld goes slow through the final quarter. No, but Ben's had a moment in the dirty air of Middlefeld. That's probably cost him all of the chances of that podium. 1 second behind. He has the DRS now towards turn 2, but unfortunately for Ben, the dirty air of Middlefeld with that snap of oversteer has meant that he is quite far behind. Ben is still going to chase him though. We're going to go on board with him. He misses the sausage curb, so will not receive a warning for not using track limits, but he's even closer now. Turn 3 going through there, 5 tenths of a second separating them. Remember, you can vote for driver of the day. Just click it and refresh it, and then you could do it again. But 7 tenths is one last shot for Mitchell. 6 seconds separate the front 2, so it will be Torben Schutt who wins this race. But Ben Mitchell by 5 tenths is following Archie Middlefeld. Keep it clinical, ladies and gentlemen. Without that time penny, I think Ben would have been P3.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, that penalty that he had to serve in the pits has cost him P3 here, but this is his last chance down the back straight. DRS wide and open, using all of his ERS, trying to chase down that Renault, but I think the gap here is just too big.
Well,
I don't think he can do anything here.
You say that a dive bomb from down here. We saw him get so close last lap. Only 2 tenths now between the Renault and the Mercedes. It's going to be through the final couple corners that that's happened. Torben Schutt is going to have to cross the line and come into P1 as he comes across the line now. Torben Schutt is the victor of the Sochi Grand Prix, but he's just too far back for Middlefeld. Torben Schutt, as we said, is the winner. Max Chapman comes home in P2. Middlefeld is going to be P3, and Ben, only losing 2 positions from the final corner, is in P4. What a race there from Ben towards the end. Joel Foxall in P5. Dylan Hartley, who started 3rd, is now P6. Jay Robertson, his teammate, will be behind him. The other Mercedes in P8 will be Ian Hanmore. Alex Rinser now down in P9, but he's being chased by Andre Abreu. Could be another last lap lunge here into the final sector, but it will be Alex Rinser in P9, Andre Abreu up in P10, Rafael will be P11, and followed by Andre Muster, Josh O'Mara, Sveni Karlstad, who manages to clinch the fastest lap, but will not receive a one championship point, and it's Kevin O'Mara in P15. Unfortunately for some of these drivers, like Ben, it was 3 tenths in the end that separated them. You see on the timing screen there, 8.1 to 8.4, and if it wasn't for the penalty and it wasn't for the snap of oversteer through turn 18, Ben definitely would be P3.
Absolutely, a solid drive still from Ben, however, but maybe he got a bit too greedy coming down the pit straight on the final lap. Maybe got a bit too close to that Renault ahead, and just that snap of oversteer ruined every single chance he had. Could have snatched P3, but maybe just getting a bit too close, a bit too early has cost him that whole chance.
Unfortunately for Ben, that he didn't get in the final podium position but he did get a very, very good race, and well done to all of the drivers, and well done to Torben Schut. He managed to become the victor for a 4th time running.
Yeah, Torben Schut is obviously showing some very good strength. They could possibly even be a championship contender if it comes to it. Obviously, just a little bit of bad luck sprinkled in with some good skill from the other drivers can obviously change the whole championship all around.
Yeah, I mean, well done to everybody. We'll go ahead and try and get some interviews. And we're joined by Andre Muster of the Red Bull team. He put it on pole on Friday, but he could not convert. Andre, good drive for you today. You got the fastest lap for most of the race. Got taken from you in the end, but regardless, it wouldn't have meant anything. Unfortunately, today, you finished in P12, but it could have been P1. What happened?
Well, I had a good qualifying, yeah. Then I had a really good start. I came away pretty well. Then turn 1, I just kept Ben behind me. Then further on, when I was about 3 seconds off P2, I hit the wall slightly, and then I lost a part of my front wing, so I had to pit. Then I was picking up the pace again, trying to catch up with everyone. Then there was a car on the road after a corner, so I just drove into it, and I lost my front wing again. Then I just drove into the pits, tried to make up the time again. Then I, under the visual safety car at the end, I was, I think, 1/10 plus delta at the end when it ended, so I got a drive-through. And then I just tried to make up the pace again, but that didn't work out. But yeah.
It just sounds like a whole series of unfortunate events for you today. Andre, for future reference, what would you do in another situation like that when you're starting from pole, possibly in the league?
Well, I think this, it really depends on the circuit. Like here, the straight is just very, very long. So you just have to try to defend. But I guess it's mainly also about further on, just trying to keep your pace and not slowing, not backing off eventually during the pit stops, or just don't make any mistakes and don't push it too hard. But yeah, it was just a stupid mistake by me, and I was just trying to be more consistent in times like that.
Wise words. Casper?
Yeah, unfortunately, you could have put it on the top step of the podium, but just a series of unfortunate events, as Callum said, and just, you know, maybe a bit a lack of consistency, and maybe you would have been up there. But good race anyways, good recovery, and maybe we can see more from you in the future.
Yeah, I will do my best. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That was the man who put it on pole but couldn't convert. Now we talk to the man who put it at P2 and did convert. Ben, great race today, buddy. Almost by the skin of your teeth, just got P4. You could have been P3, mate.
Yeah, I'm still recovering from that the last couple of laps. I was pushing so hard. Pushed a little bit too hard towards the end.
Yeah, we saw there was about a 3-second time delta between you and Archie, and we were like, let's not bother about him. He won't get there. But on the last couple laps, we saw you reduced that down towards 5/10, and then on the final lap, as you came across towards the line, you had a snap of oversteer out of turn 18, and I'm sure that was what cost you that final podium position.
Yeah, I agree. At least though, I didn't put it into the wall like I normally do.
Well, maybe we weren't spectating you enough this week. But no, as I was going to say, absolutely amazing drive. How does it feel to finally be at the top end of the points?
It feels good. First time. I have 1 point so far this season, and to get P2 in quali this week was really cool. And then, to come in, I didn't finish P2, but there were better drivers out there today. Max coming from the back to the front, as he always does. I'm really happy with P4. Could have been P3, but,
And it seems that the people are very happy with your P4 as well, as you actually won the Driver of the Day award today, so well done to you.
Oh, thank you.
Casper?
Yeah, absolutely solid race from you today, I must say. Putting it P4, absolutely great points for you. Usually at the back of the grid, now you're at the front. So how does it feel really to, push it out on a race and absolutely score amazing points?
I mean, I'm buzzing, but we've still got a few races left. There's still time. I could move up a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see.
What do you reckon? 6 races or so left, podium?
I mean, we were close today. We'll never say never.
I think enough said there from Ben, as we stop putting the pressure on him to get a podium before the end of the season. But if you keep driving like you did today, I'm sure it will come to you at some point.
Thank you, guys, and thank you, Casper, for commentating.
Yeah,
in place of Sam.
Yeah, no worries.
Well done to you, Ben, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, just before we go, just a word towards Casper. Thank you, my friend, for helping me out today. Obviously, we were in need of some replacement. You showed your potential as a driver in the league, and you showed your potential as a commentator when we did the karting back on April the 1st. But yeah, thank you so much for helping us out today, and I'm sure everybody in the chat would say thank you if they could as well.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for the opportunity once again. It was great fun commentating. Obviously, you had a bit of mess ups here and there, but it's all part of the learning process and having a bit of fun. Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna quickly ramble whilst I find out what track it is next. So I'm just gonna pretend that I'm speaking. I think it is Japan that is next. Let me just check. If you could check for me, Casper, that would be amazing. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming today and watching and doing everything that you normally do, supporting the Kenco F1 cause. Did you find out what it was?
I think it is Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it is Japan. But yeah, surely that means we will see more of Casper from now on. He showed his potential and he showed how good he is. So thank you very much to him. Thank you all. We're going to go ahead and throw a raid over towards Just Ripley. He's been a supporter of the Kenco F1 cause. He's helped out race engineering. He's helped out with some of the driver trials. So we go ahead and get a raid on him. So go ahead and show your love over to him. And thank you for watching, guys.